Welcome back to another video. I am Dr. Jennifer Boney, better known as DocJenFit, and I have one of my besties here, Moshkan, and she's actually going to demonstrate a lot of the exercises so you don't think this is all about pregnancy. So we're going to go into 5 different exercises really quickly here that Mo's actually going to move through the entirety of it so you can kind of follow along with her as I instruct. And this is really going to be huge because a lot of people think this neck hump or dowager's hump that starts to form in the back is really just I need to stretch or I need this passive device that kind of holds me up. And we're going to kind of tear that down. So hopefully you have a wall near you, and we're going to use some simple tools, which we have some bands here. They're also a part of the Optimal Body Therapy Kit. We have a link down below. If you need some bands, you can use them in your home or right around a rack. So let's get to it. First exercise, we're going to start on the wall. So Mo's going to come here and do a wall pec stretch. And this is one of my favorite things. So she's going to come up, bring her arm back, and the inside leg is always forward. So she can bend in that leg just slightly to get a little bit more of a bend forward. Hips are rotated under, and she's going to keep a bend in her arm so there's not too much tension through the nerves here. Because a lot of times what stops people most is that hand starts to fall asleep, and all she's doing is taking 5 slow intentional breaths. So she rotates to the wall as much as she can, and then she's going to hold that shoulder blade back and look forward until she feels an opening and a stretch into that chest. Okay. Keeping those hips rotated under, keeping that shoulder blade back. We then breathe into the sides of the rib cage here. So really thinking of that breath coming into that side where you're stretching open in that chest. We do 5 slow breaths on each side. This is really going to help to reduce that tension that comes all the way up from that chest. So a lot of times we think, well, it's my back that is causing the issue. My back is the thing that's rounded, that's causing that hump. And though that's true, we want to make sure that we actually get to the root cause. Well, if my back is rounded or I'm forming a hump on the back of my neck, well, then my chest might be really tight. So after 5 breaths, she'll just then rotate, go to the other side. So that leg in front, slight bend, tailbone tucked under. She's going to come to a position that's comfortable for her hand. So that might be a little bit lower for her. That might be a little bit up on the wall. You get to decide, where do I feel the most stretch into the front of my chest? Then she rotates. She keeps that shoulder blade back. So rather than that shoulder falling forward, she really wants to keep it back. Okay. And then she's just going to take slow breaths, thinking from that rib cage all the way up to that chest. And I promise you, if you do 5 breaths, like multiple times throughout the day, maybe you're doing it when you wake up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth and getting your wall pec stretch in, and you do it as you break up your work day. You do it when you get home. If you start just sprinkling this in throughout the day, you're going to naturally start to be in a more open position. One, because we're breathing more from the rib cage. We're opening up through the chest, and we're reducing that forward posture that causes that hump to come and form on the back. Then she'll turn around to the other side. And the last one we're going to do on the wall, which is really great, especially paired after we just stretch and open the chest, she's going to do some rotation. So with that same leg in front, tucking that tailbone under, she's going to reach up and try not to touch the wall. She rotates that chest as much as she can toward the wall and then coming down. If you are realizing you're touching the wall or it's too difficult, you can always scoot away from the wall a little bit more if you need to. Now, she has to scoot a little bit further away from the wall just because we do have a rack here. So her goal is not to touch the rack, not just the wall, but not to touch the rack. And the goal here also is to keep that tailbone really tucked under so it's kind of locking out that lower spine. So we're moving more from that upper chest. So now we just did a passive pec stretch, really opening up the chest. And then we just do 5 rotations on each side to really start to open actively through that upper back. And again, change the way that we're moving from that upper chest, that neck area. And then she'll do the other side, just reaching up and rotate. The number one thing you want to remember when you're doing mobility is that you're never holding your breath. That is so incredibly important. So whether it is a breath in and rotate to really open up those intercostal muscles between the ribs, or you're breathing out to relax and get more rotation. There is not one way to open up and gain rotation, but the worst thing we can do is holding the breath. So just make sure you're breathing. So now the third exercise, we're actually going to use more of this like thicker band here. So this is like a thin pull-up band, I guess you can say, or a really thick, long band. I don't know what else, resistance band. Okay. And what we're going to do is rows, but we're going to focus on rows in their full range of motion. So first of all, you want to unlock your knees. Tuck that tailbone just slightly. Now, the goal here is to keep this rib cage aligned over the pelvis the entire time without rounding or extending or having that rib cage kind of go back and forth. Okay. The only things we want to move here are the shoulder blades. And this is how we're going to gain the maximum strength here and maintain our alignment. So Mo, do a little chin tuck for me. Very nice. So you should start to form that double chin. It's okay through exercise. And what she's going to do is allow her arms to come forward, shoulder blades away from the spine, and then shoulder blades are going to pull back as she breathes out and keeps that rib cage down. Pull all the way those elbows back into that row and then extend. And she'll do 8 slow, conscious reps. So really full range of motion here. Those shoulder blades are going to come forward. The shoulder blades are going to come back. And again, as those shoulder blades come forward, the goal here is not to round. So she'll show you a bad rep now, now round. So we don't want this rounding position and we don't want the full extension rib cage flare in the back. Okay. So see that kind of difference here. We're really focusing on just the shoulder blades, keeping everything away from the neck and up into the ears, keeping that chin tuck hold. There's a lot going on here, but you're going to get full range of motion. And when you add a little bit of resistance, we're working the muscles along the back as well. So just 8 of those. Amazing. And then we go into a quite challenging exercise. So this is where we're going to use the yellow resistance band. Okay. This is our lightest that we have a part of our kit. You definitely don't want to start very heavy. And if you don't have a resistance band, just start with no weight right now. You're still going to feel it. So again, we're going to unlock the knees, tuck that tailbone just a tiny bit. Rib cage is going to stay and we're going to align that neck back. So automatically we're still working what's happening in the back here while we work on the deep neck flexors in the front of the neck. She's going to pull into a high row. So elbows out to the side, rotate the arms up toward the ceiling and then reach up to the sky. And we're just going to do 5 slow conscious ones. What you're going to feel is this entire shoulder blade back area really doing a lot of work here. As she rotates down, she's going to think of rotating that shoulder blade out toward the rib cage. So your upper traps are still going to be working and assisting. They have to through this movement. But what we're also doing is we're getting mid traps, we're getting low traps and serratus anterior to also play a role all around those shoulder blades. This is going to give you complete scapular control here, strengthening the back and reversing a lot of our posture where we get into this very forward posture all throughout the day. So just 5 of these. Yes, you got it, Mo. Pressing up to the sky. Woo! And you see how her rib cage and pelvis stay in alignment the entire time. Then we just have one more. Last little exercise and something that I recommend every person do, especially if you work at a desk and you're folded over a computer or technology, your phone all day long. This is a great way to start to reverse that posture. And it doesn't need to take very long, but it does need to be consistent, I would say on a daily basis. So Moshkan's going to come and lay on her stomach and her elbows are just propped up underneath her. And what we're trying to do here is kind of relax all throughout the back and then the shoulders will stay down. Now she's going to press the shoulder blades into the floor and then can keep a really big chin tuck here. So making a double chin and then keeping that double chin as long as possible. She's going to start to slowly look up to the ceiling, trying to hold that double chin as much as possible, as long as possible. She'll extend the neck to what is tolerable for you and then return to that double chin and then all the way to that relaxed position. We'll just do 5 of these right now, but you can do a little bit more. I swear to you, this feels so good. You press through those shoulder blades. So we're getting getting that serratus anterior. We're getting that back working and opening here, and we're completely reversing our posture from, sitting at a chair all day, especially all throughout that lower back, all the way up to that neck. And we're really training what is called our deep neck flexors. So these 5 exercises here are going to be key to starting to actually reverse the posture that we've been creating, usually from sustained posture all day long. So if we want to get out of a sustained posture, we have to move. And these 5 movements can really start to open you up, especially the more consistent you are. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.